Hey guys, thanks so much for coming back and watching part two of this video. If you haven't watched part one, definitely make sure you check it out because I talk so much in detail about topic choice and keyword research and many things that I don't really go over in any of my videos. So this part will, make more sense if you watch that first video. So in this part of the series, I want to talk more about creating your site and then what you should do after you create your site and want to start getting some traffic. All right, so as many of you guys know, I am not a fan of free websites. Sure, you can go to WordPress.com, you can go to Blogger.com and start a free website. But here's the problem. First of all, if you use WordPress.com, you cannot use AdSense. You're not allowed to monetize your site in any way. It's against their terms. And with Blogger, you can use AdSense, but with either of these platforms, you don't own your content. Your content is owned by WordPress or Blogger. In my opinion, if you want to build a serious business online, you need to register your own domain name and make sure you pay for hosting so you own your content. And with hosting being so cheap these days, you guys, it just really, really makes sense if you're serious about your site. Now, when you're ready to create your site and you're ready to get your domain name and sign up with hosting, of course, I'm going to recommend my own site, which is websitepalace.com. But of course, you guys, you can go anywhere to register your domain and hosting. You don't have to use my store. However, if you do, you will get my WordPress guide for free. That's a little incentive that I just began offering for people who, register their domains or sign up for hosting here. So thank you for all of you guys who have supported my site. I really, really appreciate it. As you can see, there's 24-hour support round the clock. So rest assured that the support is definitely there. So when it comes to starting with a self-hosted WordPress site, which is what I recommend, not WordPress.com. So at Website Palace, you can just choose the WordPress blog hosting, and when you sign into your account and get ready to begin your site, WordPress will already be installed. You don't even have to install it like you do with some hosting platforms, and then you can begin building your website. So let's talk a little bit about WordPress. I am a huge fan of WordPress. What I love about WordPress is that it's good for static sites, dynamic sites, or a combination of both. Now, what the heck do I mean by static or dynamic? Static just basically means when you click a link to a page, like when I click this sitemap link, it's going to go to a static page. This page is pretty much going to look the same every time you click it. With a blog or dynamic content, when you click a certain category, it's always going to show the latest post from that category. That's the dynamic side of WordPress. And most people that use WordPress, they use it for blogging, meaning they put a lot of current posts out there and their content is sorted by date or category, which is what WordPress is great for. But what I love about WordPress is that you can use static or dynamic content. I tend to use a combination of both and get the best of both worlds. So WordPress is incredibly, incredibly flexible. You can add shopping carts. You can, add search forms. There's so many different things that you can add to your site because it's open source and there are plugins and many of them are free. So I'm a big fan of WordPress. So if you want to learn how to use WordPress, go to my website, tocreateawebsite.com. Click this link that says create a WordPress blog, and I have a very, very detailed video. If you click this link here at the top, it's going to take you to a very in-depth video of how to use WordPress, and it assumes you don't know anything about it at all. So there's a lot of tips in here for how to create a menu so you can choose what pages you want to link to. Some people kind of struggle with that. And then below that, I have another video that shows you how to use the latest version of WordPress and how to edit one of the free themes that comes with WordPress. So make sure you check that out. Now, I know a lot of you guys know that for many, many, many years, I have been recommending another host called Site Build It. SiteSell is an all-in-one website building, hosting system that helps you build a content website and make money from it. So you get your domain name, you get hosting, you get a video action guide, you get help with a lot of those things that I talked about in the first video. And a lot of people always ask me, Lisa, why would you recommend Site Build It when WordPress is so much better? Here's the thing, you guys. it's no question. When it comes to design, when it comes to functionality, Site Build It doesn't hold a candle to WordPress. That isn't even a contest, okay? The templates that you get with WordPress, the designs that you get are excellent. And plus, with WordPress being open source, it allows anyone to design for the platform. So that right there alone makes WordPress a better option because there are more design options. So when it comes to design, yes, I completely agree. WordPress is the better product. What you get with Site Build It is all of that stuff that I talked about in the first video that I believe most people ignore when they're starting a website. They just, put up a WordPress site, install some plugins, and then 3 weeks later, they're like, I don't understand why I'm not making any money. I don't understand why I have no traffic. Well, a lot of people miss out on that preliminary education. So they just rush into building a site and they don't understand the process they need to go through when it comes to narrowing it down. And they don't understand why certain sites build engagement over others. That's the part that you get, or that's the education that you get with Site Build It. And that's largely what you're paying for. A lot of the stuff that I talk about in my videos, I learned a lot of that stuff from following Ken Evoy of SiteSell.com. Now, the unfortunate thing about Site Build It is their templates overshadow all of the other good stuff because people, they don't care about the video action guide and all of that other stuff when they see the templates look like they're straight out of 1996. And just calling it what it is, they are not up to par. And now SiteSell will tell you that you don't have to use their templates. You can outsource and use your own. And I completely agree with that. In fact, that's what I did. This is my Site Build It website that I created back in 2005, and I used Dreamweaver for my template. Now, it still doesn't look all that hot, but let me just keep it real about this website, you guys. I created it back in 2005, worked really hard on this site between 2005 through 2008. It was getting really, really good traffic, making a nice passive income. Then in 2012, it got slapped with all of the Google updates. Having said that, though, given the fact that I have not really paid attention to this site in a couple of years, the traffic is still in the 4 digits per day. It still does decent with AdSense, with ClickBank, and with Amazon.com. So it's still making a passive income and still gets found in Google for some very long tail, non-competitive searches. So I have no intention of, shutting this site down, anytime soon. But I will say this, I am not as passionate about this topic as I am, to create or my hair site. So this is another lesson in how important it is for you to really be engaged with a website, because the days of putting out a site and letting it sit there and just, get a bunch of traffic and make money off of it passively without updating it, those days are gone. So I'm very fortunate that this site is doing as well as it is. But please don't buy Site Build It thinking that you can do what I did in 2013. You are going to have to diversify beyond SEO, which is search engine optimization. So minus the designs, the templates, Site Build It is still a good product. I just think they need to get up to speed with the design. And trust me, I spoke with Ken Evoy on the phone last October. I have a very, good relationship with the folks over at SiteSell. I actually used to work as their affiliate manager, and I managed their affiliate program back in 2006. A lot of people don't know that. So I know the people over there, and I stay in constant contact with them. And they know what they've got to do. And let me just say, they are working on those templates, and let's just hope and pray something is coming soon. Because it is a shame that all the training and all the stuff that they give you for the money is overshadowed by the design. And that's largely what people judge them on. And I get that. Now, last summer, I wrote an article, a very candid article, talking about the gap that I think needs to be filled when it comes to building a content website for money. I think WordPress is very good when it comes to the building, the functionality, the templates, the design. I don't think anything beats that, the plugins. But if you're a brand new person to building a content website or making money online, you're not going to get all of the other training in terms of marketing and understanding the psychology of a visitor and what gets people to buy and all of that stuff. You don't get that training with WordPress. And that's not to say you can't get it on your own. You can Google it and learn it. If you're a resourceful person, you can do it on your own. I'm not saying you need Site Build It, but the value with Site Build It is that you do get all that training and all that information I talked about in the previous video. That's what you largely are paying for with Site Build It, and that's what you don't get with WordPress. But quite honestly, if you're the type of person that's resourceful enough and you feel like you can learn on your own, get WordPress and teach yourself about marketing, read other blogs, do all that. Site Build It says, come to us. You don't have to do all that research and reading. We'll guide you along. And that's their sales pitch. Now, if you saw this article back in February, I did a case study on a Site Build It user by the name of Carl, who is doing very well with his Site Build It site. He's one of these people that values the hand-holding. Carl has a site on Walt Disney World, and this site gets about 200,000 visitors a month, and he's looking to retire, and the income from this site is helping him. Now, he's not making a full-time living because of this site, but he's doing well. So this is an example of someone in 2013 that appreciates what Site Build It has to offer. Now, let's keep it real. He did not use their templates. He did outsource it, which is what a lot of people do. And then, of course, the argument is, why should I have to outsource? Why aren't the templates what they should be when I buy? And I get that. But he's a person that's very happy with the product. So at the end of the day, it's really about what you value. If you think that you can learn, how to market your site and you don't need all that hand-holding, go with WordPress. But if you're the kind of person who maybe you don't mind the Site Build It templates or you don't mind outsourcing the design, understand that they are working on getting them better, but you want that hand-holding, then, Site Build It may be for you. But I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying you have to use Site Build It. And I also wanted to basically be straightforward about what was going on with my Site Build It site. Yes, it's still making a passive income, but the glory days and the days of just sitting back and not doing anything to your site and expecting it to make, get bunches of traffic and make a ton of money when you're not updating it, those days are gone. So back to the slides, you can either use WordPress to build your site. As I said, WordPress works for static and dynamic sites, or you can go with Site Build It, but just understand that there are going to be technical limitations. They are really good with the training, but they're not as good with the functionality and the technology. So if you want to learn more about building your site, I have way more detail on to createawebsite.com, but I definitely wanted to touch on those two topics, WordPress and Site Build It, because those are typically the two that I think that you might want to consider. But I go into a lot more detail on my site, and I talk about Artisteer for building your own WordPress templates and all those types of things. So make sure you check out my site when you can. All right, so now that your site is up, once you've created your website, the next thing you're going to want to do is ensure your site is optimized so you can start getting some search engine traffic, because that's always a great place to start. I don't think you should depend on search engine traffic, but again, it's still a good place to start. So the first thing you're going to want to do is create a Google Webmaster Tools account. So the reason it's important to have a Google Webmaster Tools account is you can stay abreast of any errors that exist on your site, any crawl errors, if you've got broken links, if there are any blocked URLs, if there's any malware on your site. So this is a great idea to keep up with what's going on with your site, especially when it comes to Google. In terms of creating a sitemap, which is something you'll definitely want to do, a sitemap is simply an XML file with all of the pages on your site. So once you submit your sitemap, Google will then visit it regularly and download any new content, and it's how Google keeps up with your newest pages or your latest pages. If you use Site Build It, they create the sitemap for you, and if you use WordPress, there are plugins out there such as the Google XML Sitemaps and many others that will create your sitemap automatically. So don't feel like you have to do it manually. Either platform I recommend for building your site, it will be done automatically for you. So the great thing about having a Google Webmaster Tools account is you can keep up with the health of your websites. If Google is having trouble accessing your site for whatever reason, they will leave you a message. If they find you have some unnatural links pointing to your site, they will let you know here so you can address them. So once you create a Google Webmaster Tools account, Google will ask you to verify your site by uploading a file to your server. And then from there on, you will be verified. And then you can come in here as much as you want. And you can also see, the links that are pointing to your site. You can see where you rank, where your average rankings are for different keywords, and what links you have to your website. So a lot of information right here in this one tool. Bing and Yahoo also have a Webmaster Tools section, so you'll want to also create an account with them as well. I'll be very honest though, I have some very good rankings in Bing and Yahoo, but I hardly get any traffic from either of these two engines. I really just don't think that many people use these engines anymore, but it's still worth creating, a Webmaster Tools account for them just because it's not going to hurt anything. So you might as well do that too. Now, I already mentioned the sitemaps, but if you're a WordPress user, there's a plugin called Yoast, and they will also create a sitemap for your website as well. As I said, guys, if you're using WordPress, with the plugins that are available, there's no reason to do anything manually. I can guarantee you, if you want to learn how to do something or add something to your site, or if you need a functionality, just Google whatever you want and then plug in. And I guarantee you there's a plugin for it. And as I said, Site Build It also creates your sitemap for you as well. Now, let's talk about backlinks. This is one of the foundations of search engine optimization. So what Google does when they determine your rank is they look at a number of different things. They look at the content on your page, but more importantly, they look at the kinds of backlinks or the links that are pointing to your website. And that's how they largely determine where you're going to rank. Now, there are other things like, social media. That's a huge thing now. Google is also looking at, how many shares and how much interaction your posts and content get on different social media sites. That's huge these days as well. But I really want to focus on backlinks and squash some myths about that. Okay, so anytime you link to someone else's site, a backlink is created. Now, I'm on this post that I wrote last year called How T Drives Traffic Without Google and Her Advice for You. And it's basically a story about T Roberts and how she is getting traffic without relying on Google. And in this post, I link over to her blog. This is a backlink. And in terms of Google, in their eyes, they're going to see this as a more relevant backlink because our blogs are somewhat similar and they talk about some of the same topics. So anytime you get a link from a site that is relevant to what you talk about, and especially if the site has a decent amount of backlinks of its own, then that's going to benefit you more than a link from a site that is unrelated and not popular. That is why after all the Google updates in 2012, that's why so many people are trying to do more guest posting on popular blogs because they're trying to get links from sites that have some degree of popularity because they know it could help their search engine ranking. Now, the problem with this backlink craze is that people are really going out of their mind in terms of chasing backlinks, and they think that every backlink is created equal, and that's not entirely true. Let me explain what I mean. All right, so here we are on my forum, Website Babble, which I hope you guys join and come chat and ask questions because it's a great place to get some help if you need it. As you can see from my PageRank toolbar, my site has a PageRank of a 4. Okay, what does that mean? PageRank is Google's internal measuring system for the amount of quality backlinks you have pointing to your website. It does not necessarily indicate how much traffic a website has, and it does not limit or help your traffic anyway. It is just a measurement of the quality of the links you have. So a PageRank of a 1 is the lowest, a PageRank of a 10 is the highest. Okay, so I have a lot of people that joined this forum just to drop a backlink to their website thinking it's going to help them with search engine optimization. Years ago, I think forum promotion or forum links did help, like the little signature in your forum post. I think they played a great deal with search engine optimization. But today, I don't think it's as much of a help. And let me explain why. Let's just let's go to an older post. Okay, so here's a thread where Jeff is talking about WordPress image sizes, okay? Now, all right, so James has a signature here, which is a link to his site. Once you get over a certain amount of posts, you can put a link to your site. Look at this. Google is showing that this page, this internal page, has a page rank of 0. So what that means is, from a backlink standpoint, this link to James' site is not really going to do that much good from a search engine ranking perspective, because this page is not really valued from a page rank perspective. Okay. So a lot of people today in 2013 are still spamming forums because they think, oh, I'm just going to drop a bunch of links and get my Google rankings up. And that's not how you do it. If you want Google to recognize you, you need quality links from relevant sites. So if your site's about fishing, you want to get a link from a high quality or a popular fishing blog. So how do you do that today, in 2013? Well, one of the ways people are doing it is through guest posting. Guest posting is the process of simply writing an article on somebody else's website, and then in that article, you'll get a link back to your own website. And that may have some impact in your search engine ranking over time, especially if the blog that you're posting on is popular and has a good page rank. But I was just reading on somebody's blog, I can't remember who it was, that even guest posting is going to have a limited, or is already having limited impact on search engine optimization because it's starting to get abused. And this is what I wanted to say about backlinks. Anytime a backlink method can be replicated easily by anyone, it's going to have less and less value over time. Anyone can buy links. Anyone can drop thousands of form signatures on a site. So Google says, look, why would I count links that the webmaster can manufacture themselves? Why would we put so much emphasis on those kinds of links? Because anybody can do that. That doesn't necessarily mean that the site is popular. It just means that the owner knows how to get backlinks. So instead of relying so much on those kinds of links in 2012, 13 going forward, we're going to rely more on things like social media, and we're going to minimize the impact of forum links and perhaps even guest blogging in the very future if it's not happening already. The links that are going to count the most are the ones that are going to be built naturally from websites, from people that are just saying, wow, this is a really, really great site. So let me just put a link to it, or let me recommend this site because I really like it. And the argument is, if you've got a really good site, that's going to happen naturally. That is largely what happened with this site. A lot of people said, Lisa, I don't understand how you get traffic without backlinks. I never said this post does not have backlinks. And people, even though I said that in this post, people are still, I don't know if they're not understanding what I wrote, but they're like, how can you build traffic without backlinks? I never said this doesn't have backlinks. I just said that the backlinks were created naturally through people who just like the site and they linked to it from their blog or gave a shout out on their Facebook page or whatever. So that's the key. It's about natural, slow backlinks. That's what Google wants to see. If they see you got a bunch of form links or a bunch of unnatural links, they're not going to count. And you may even be penalized for those links. So the linking game has completely changed, and it really happened in 2012 when Google launched their first Penguin update, where they penalized websites that had a lot of unnatural backlinks to them. So the keys to improving your search engine optimization today involve getting slow, natural backlinks, getting shares. So when people share your content via social media, that absolutely has an impact. So of course, writing quality content helps you get more shares. But the days of, chasing a bunch of unnatural backlinks, and anytime, because people always say, does this method work? Anytime you are doing something that can be easily replicated by someone else in terms of gaining links, Google is going to devalue that. If they don't already, they will in the long run. I've been getting a lot of questions about Fiverr because apparently there are people who are selling backlinks. For example, you pay $5 and they'll put your link in 5,000 different places. This is an extreme example of what I'm talking about. It's a waste of money. Google will not acknowledge those kinds of links. Anytime you're getting a bunch of links from a bunch of low quality sites, especially if they're not related to your site, it's not going to help. And if it helps in the short term, You may get some traffic in the short term because of that, but in the long term, it's going to catch up with you. Google has made it incredibly difficult to inflate your own site's popularity. And what I mean by that is you used to be able to say, hey, Google, look, I've got 10,000 backlinks. Look, I bought links here. I've got a bunch of form links. Google's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. You built those links yourself. So we're not going to count those. We're looking at the links from, this popular blog over here. Oh, you have a link from that. That's what they want to see. So how do you get links like that? Well, number one, it starts with social media, getting social, getting out there, building relationships with other people, and they will shout you out naturally. Writing outstanding content. People love sharing great posts, great content. So take your content to the next level and people will share it. Directory submissions. A lot of people are asking, should I still submit to directories? Again, directories fall in that same category. If anyone can submit a link to a directory, and anyone can, then it's going to have less impact from a backlink perspective. It just will, because anybody can do it. So the days of getting into the DMOZ directory or the open directory and expecting that to catapult your search engine rankings, they're pretty much over. Everything is natural, slow and natural. That's what Google likes to see. The other thing I wanted to mention about your search engine ranking is that they are now very personalized now. The search results for Google are based on your previous search history, your social network. So if you are connected with someone on, let's say, Google Plus, and they like something, Google may, show that site above others. Previous websites that you visited, all of these things play a role in where websites rank. So a lot of people will come on Website Babel and they'll say, oh, I'm ranking number 2 for this keyword. And then we'll go on there and we won't see them. And it's because they are largely looking at a personalized results. And even if you clear your cache and cookies and history and all that, some people are saying you can still get a, personalized result. So even though you may see that you're ranking number 2 for a certain phrase, someone in another city may see you as number 12, on the second page. So really the only way to know where you're ranking, or at least where you can see your average position, is to log into your Google Webmaster Tools account, go to traffic, and then go to search queries, and then Google will show you where your average ranking is for, various keywords. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to check where you rank. Remember, everybody these days is seeing different results. Now I want to talk about Google Authorship, which is very, very important. Google Authorship is the process of tagging your own content and linking it to your Google Plus profile. So if you haven't created a Google Plus profile, you'll just go to plus.google.com and follow the instructions and set up your profile. In your profile, you can add links to your website and all of your other social profiles. So this is important. You'll definitely want to do this step. Now, on your website, you want to make sure that you link to your Google profile on every page. So, for example, if you scroll to the bottom of my blog, my name actually links back to my Google Plus profile. So anytime I publish a new piece of content, it automatically links back to my Google profile. So I'm building up my Google authorship. The other advantage of using Google Authorship is your picture from your Google Plus profile will also appear in the search results next to your website. But my favorite thing about Google Authorship is that it automatically tags your content so Google knows that you wrote it. Because I've had a big problem over the years with people ripping off my content, stealing my content. So now, at least every time I create something new, it is immediately tagged to my name. So if somebody goes and replicates it, then Google's like, oh, well, this is Lisa Irby's content. She wrote it first. So I like that. Now, as far as WordPress goes, there are already plugins out there, authorship plugins, that you can use to set up the authorship on your blog so you don't have to do it manually like I did here. So again, with WordPress, you can pretty much find a plugin to do everything. So if you want to learn more about Google Authorship, make sure you check out my site. I wrote an article about it here, and I explain in more detail about how to set it up. But this is definitely something that you are going to want to do. Now, let's talk about other traffic building options. You guys know YouTube was going to be top of the list. You guys, I cannot tell you what YouTube has done for my business, my income. I downplay it a lot. I don't really talk about it a lot. But my 3 active channels, which would be this one, and then my 2 Create a Website channel, and then my Naturally Curly channel, which is my hair channel, they have over 70,000 subscribers combined. And the amount of ebooks and affiliate products I've sold because of my YouTube videos over time, it's been amazing. I'm not even talking about the partner program income, because you know what? That can be taken away tomorrow. Again, I take any income from Google with a grain of salt, because who knows how long it will last with everybody getting, disabled these days. But YouTube is such a great way to build additional exposure for your brand. Not necessarily traffic, because I don't know how much traffic I get from YouTube, because most people probably don't click the links, but I'm just talking about the exposure and building the credibility. So very important. Podcasting, that's another way that you can get your message out there. It's another great way to build traffic, build credibility, and not have to rely on Google traffic. I wanted to throw this one in here because I actually meant to do a blog post about this, and I actually still will. I just haven't gotten around to it. Ann Smarty, who is a person I really admire online, she always seems to come up with services that are relevant to today's time. And that's what viral content buzz is. Viral content buzz lets you share other people's content. And then when you share their content, you earn credits. And in return for those credits, you can also get traffic back to your website. Now, I'm not usually a fan of these kind of viral MLM traffic services, but what I like about Ann's service is that there is quality control. They don't accept just any old article into their network. The article has to have certain quality standards before they accept it. So instead of just a bunch of people sharing a bunch of low quality content, you've got people sharing higher quality content. So it's a really good way to share some of your newer blog posts. So I highly recommend signing up for that. Ann is also responsible for creating My Blog Guests, which is a community, as it says, of guest bloggers. So if you are a blogger and you're looking for guest bloggers, this is where you can go. And if you're looking to guest blog on other people's sites, you can come here as well. Email marketing is another underutilized strategy, and I think it is underutilized because people think it doesn't work, or they associate email marketing with spamming people or trying to sell a bunch of things. But email marketing does not have to be that way. For example, I use email to send out WordPress tips about every 7 to 10 days. And I don't really sell a lot with this list. I just send quick tips out to people's email. And this list has, I think, over like 10,000 subscribers now. But it makes money because in every 3 or 4 tips or so, I might have a link to something relevant in the post, like a WordPress theme or something that's going to earn me a commission. So not only are you keeping in touch with your audience, but you can also monetize that by throwing, a product in there every now and then. But the key is to do it gently and lightly. You don't want to overdo it. The idea of collecting emails is not to bombard people with sales messages or sales pitches all the time. The idea is to keep in touch with them and keep you on their radar. Now, I use AWeber for my emails. I know there's MailChimp, there's Constant Contact. I've only used AWeber, so I can't speak, for anything else or any other service. I've been with them since 2004. They just have a really, really good tool, and I have no intentions of going anywhere else. So, love AWeber. Social media. Now, you can't ignore that in 2013. Even though I was one of those people that really fought social media back in 2009, I was like, I am so tired of people posting every little thing about what they do every minute of the day. I just thought it was ridiculous. But I've grown to love it because it's where people are, right? I mean, like it or love it, it's where your audience is. So you can say, I'm not going to get on Facebook. You don't have to get on Facebook for your personal life. You can just create a Facebook page for your visitors. Because I have people that tell me, Lisa, I don't follow your blog via RSS or email. I follow your blog through Facebook. That's how I keep up with your latest story. I wait for you to post it on Facebook. And the other key with social media is actually making real connections, building real relationships with real people, because that's what generates those natural backlinks that I was talking about when I was talking about search engine optimization on the other slide. Like it or love it, social media is here to stay. Twitter, Facebook, It's here. It's not going anywhere. One of the keys to getting started with social media, I always suggest that people begin following people in their niche. So find people that have sites that are related to yours, respond to their tweets, respond to their Facebook page, start building up conversations and getting to know people. And you'll be amazed at, how far that will take you in the long run. That's a good place to start. But using Twitter and Facebook is not about blasting your ad or ads all over the place. For example, with Twitter, I use it to announce my new blog post, but I also use it because I get a lot of questions on Twitter. So it's nice being there and being accessible for anyone that has a question for me. So you don't have to use Twitter or Facebook for narcissistic things. You can actually just use it to promote your new content and network with other people in your space. When it comes to Twitter, Facebook, Google+, I tend to prefer Facebook. It's just where I get the best interaction. I just like the platform better. And as you begin marketing your site, you will probably discover which ones are your favorites, which ones are not. I still post new content to all three platforms. And some people also use LinkedIn as well. But I tend to spend more of my time on Facebook. So just depends on what works for you. So make sure you stop by my page, hit that like button, and I'll see you there. This is the other thing I wanted to point out. A lot of people struggle because they are not consistent enough in the beginning. It takes time to build up momentum with a website. And if you're just going to do this for 3 weeks or a month and then quit, you're going to be very disappointed. It takes time. You have to have consistency. So don't give up if it's been 2 weeks and you're not seeing anything. Keep writing that quality content. Shoot for quality. Don't just paraphrase like I talked about in that last video where people become reporters. Use your own personal experiences to make your posts more interesting, and then be consistent. You'll be amazed at what will happen. So where can I get help? Well, I talked about Website Babble earlier. This is my forum where people can come and get help, ask questions. I'm there usually 2 times a day at least, answering questions, and I have some wonderful moderators who have been helping me out. But it's a friendly community. I don't think anybody is ever made to feel silly for asking certain questions. I welcome any question there. So make sure you check it out, and you can get a lot of help there. My blog. I blog about once a week. Sometimes it's every other week. It just depends. But this is the place to subscribe to if you just want to see what I'm working on, any new announcements, any news in the industry. I post it here. And I tend to blog on Mondays. So make sure you go to my blog, subscribe. You can subscribe via email, or you can click this link here and learn about other ways to sign up as well. So look forward to seeing you there as well. As I already mentioned, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter. I love, answering quick questions on Twitter. Twitter's so convenient because unlike email, you don't get these paragraphs and paragraphs of questions in one email. So it's quick and fast. So I really enjoy Twitter. As many of you guys know, I have an ebook called Niche Website Success, and you can purchase it at nichewebsitesuccess.com. This ebook is primarily for the ultimate beginner. It gives you a nice overview. It talks about a lot of the stuff I went over here, but into a lot more detail, of course, than I go in these videos. So if you want to purchase it, you just go to the website on the screen and you can download it. Final comments. I cannot emphasize how important it is for you to enjoy the ride. Unfortunately, a lot of people get into this only for the money, and they become so focused on how long is it going to take me to succeed instead of saying, wow, I really enjoy blogging, or I really enjoy doing video. I'm learning how to monetize something I already enjoy doing anyway. When you enjoy this, it makes you more patient. It makes you more creative. And I think some people need to realize that this particular model is not for everybody. And that's okay. Just like selling cars is not for everybody. There's people out here who make a ton of money as car salesmen. But just because it makes a ton of money for some people doesn't mean it's for everybody. I think sometimes you have to have what they call the come to Jesus meeting with yourself and say, look, am I really enjoying this, or am I only doing this because I'm inspired by someone who is making a lot of money? I don't really like what I'm doing, but I just need the money fast. And that's just not a reason to get into this business, just being very honest. The key with being successful with anything, whether it's online or offline, when you're trying to make money, is to find models that fit your individual skill set. I don't know if you guys saw the video that I did last summer. This video, okay, why do I look so sleepy in that still shot? Anyway, this video went over really well with people because I think it touched a chord. It's about a person who had been following me for years, and they tried to do the content video marketing thing, and they just weren't having success. But they discovered that they were really good at interviewing people and talking to people. So they started a podcast, and they became successful doing that. And he was basically saying, you know, it's not about copying somebody else's model if you are not as interested or as into doing what they're doing. It's about finding what you're good at and monetize that. Because if you can find something that you enjoy out here, you can be successful with many different kinds of models. You don't have to become a content affiliate or, you know, a YouTuber or whatever if that's not your thing. Find business models that fit what you are good at, and you'll have so much more fun. You'll be much more creative, and you'll have a better chance of success. But please don't just do this because you need money immediately, because this takes time. Nobody's going to get rich overnight. You can make a ton of money out here still today in 2013. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. You just can't rely on Google, and you have to diversify your traffic a lot more. You cannot adopt the business model of 2004 today. You know what I'm saying? And so that's largely why I wanted to do this video. Today, social media is so much more important than it was when I got started. If I were to get started today, I would have to probably rely so much more on social media to get started, because that's what's big today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know this was super long, especially if you stuck with both videos. I really, really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, please share it on your blog, on your site. I would love that. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me, and I will see you later on. Thanks, guys. Bye.